Hello, friends. Welcome to this live edition of Multiverse on our channel, which is known as AKULMACH Business Channel. And today, in this live edition, what is that we are going to discuss about the celestial body? Let's find out. Yes, today we will share some 10 weird facts about Venus. And by the way, we are live, so you can get engaged with us. You can send messages. If you are watching us live, you can actually send your questions or messages, and we will display your messages live on this program. So let's proceed to our live feed. As you can see, the Venus as it is, as it appears now, is visible, and we are moving through space with the live feed about Venus. And I've just increased the speed to show the movement of Venus through the space. So Venus is the third brightest object in our night sky. So when you look up, the brightest object that you see is Sun, followed by Moon, and the third brightest object is Venus. And if normally Venus is a planet, but then when you look up at the sky during morning or evening, you will see the brightest star-like object very close to the moon. When the moon is coming up or setting, then you will know that you have actually looked at Venus. It shines very brightly without any twinkle because it's a planet. And that is why Venus is also known as evening star or morning star by the ancient. What next? So Venus has a very peculiar weather system, and whenever there are cyclones, it will also have a attached anticyclone system. And because of this cyclone and anticyclone which exist in pair, the Venus cyclone system looks like a S pattern, and these are very energetic phenomena, always existing in a S pattern. One will be cyclone and other will be anticyclone. Why we call it anticyclone? Because one will be moving at clockwise and other one would be moving anti-clockwise, and they are all connected, and the atmosphere, the air basically is shared between them in a S format. What next? The planet itself rotate in a clockwise manner, unlike any other planet in the solar system. All other planets basically move anti-clockwise from west to east, including Earth. When we move from west to east, the sunrise will be on the east and sunset will be on the west, because we are moving from west to east. Whereas in case of Venus, it moves from east to west, and this is the only object in the solar system which does that. So it's a very strange phenomena. We don't know exactly what are the true reasons behind this clockwise axis for Venus, but nevertheless it is a peculiar and weird and extraordinary fact about Venus. And I think most of us knows that Venus is associated with the heat. It is the hottest planet in the entire solar system. And when I say hottest planet, the hottest surface temperature of any planet. It fluctuates between 425 to about 490 degrees Celsius, and at this temperature, the lead melts. So most of the semiconductors, most of the electronics will cease to function at this temperature. So suppose we send our probes and manage to land them down on the surface of Venus. I think they have a very limited shelf life. So far, the Russians made a lot of attempt, and the longest surviving aircraft was about an hour. So a spacecraft, I beg your pardon. So basically, the survival rate for the life as we know it is very remote because of the high temperature. And why this high temperature? Because Venus has undergone a runaway greenhouse effect. The majority of the atmosphere consists of carbon dioxide, which causes heat to trap inside its atmosphere, and that causes a greenhouse effect. So if it, even if it captures a little bit amount of heat, it gets trapped there. So over years, over eons, the heat has been built up over the surface, and that is why it is so hot. Most of the material on the surface appears to be molten in state. There is a lot of lava activity on the surface. There's a lot of flow of lava, etc. So it has a very hellish kind of environment on Venus. Well, most of the planet actually have an elliptical uh, orbit, but the Venus as a planet is having the most elliptic, most circular orbit around the sun. It's almost a perfect sphere of an orbit, and that is why it makes it peculiar. Because if you look at even the case of Earth in winters, the Earth is slightly away from the sun. That is why we have winters. I mean, there are winters because of the inclination of the earth axis also, that causes the winter season to exist, and the difference between north and south hemisphere. However, during the winter time, the earth is slightly away from sun, and that is why the less heat is reached earth, and that is why we have winters. In case of Venus, it is completely circular, so there is very little difference between the distance from between Venus and Earth when it moves around this. Distance between Sun and Venus when it moves around in its orbit. So what next? Well, this is the most peculiar aspect of Venus. Venus is smaller than Earth, yet its atmosphere is 92% denser than Earth atmosphere. Now you can imagine, it is so dense, it is equal to the density of water or the pressure of water about a kilometer, about 1000 meter in the ocean. So if you land on Venus, it will feel like as if you are 1000 meters below the sun, below the sea surface, under the sea, and that depth, the human body will completely get crushed. So if you manage to land on Venus, you will get actually crushed immediately. There is so much pressure, the atmosphere itself creates so much pressure. So it is very, very weird, and it is the atmosphere itself behave like, for us, from our point of view, will behave like a high pressure water which is surrounding us. So it is so thick. And even if you manage to survive, suppose you have a very special space suit and you manage to survive that heat and that high pressure, what will happen is that even if there is a wind which is flowing at couple of feet in its speed, it will knock you down, because the pressure will be so much on your body. So that is why it is a peculiar fact that it has a very thick atmosphere, even though the planet is smaller than Earth, and it is about 82% the mass of the Earth. Still, it is able to maintain a very thick atmosphere on its surface. Next weird fact is it rotates very slowly on its axis. It is the slowest rotating planet in our solar system. One day of Venus is longer than 1 year on Venus. So the one day itself lasts for 243 Earth days, and Venus goes around, and the day is longer than a year. So it's very peculiar, There, the day itself is longer than the year itself. So what kind of world Venus is? You can, jolly well remember, imagine what kind of life, or what kind of environment it would have. For 1 year there is day, and 1 year there is night. That is the kind of environment Venus provides you. The next peculiar fact is, because of this heat and because of this pressure, there is built up of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, and the clouds, I mean, if you see these the Venus behind you, in fact it is all covered with cloud. But and in you never see the surface here, because 100% of the planet is covered with cloud, but these clouds are made of sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, as you know, that it can melt even the iron, even the steel, it can melt in it. It reacts with it. So what happens is the sulfuric acid creates a weather pattern there. The clouds rise above about 50 to 60 kilometers, and from there it becomes the sulfuric acid droplets, and then sulfuric acid then falls towards the surface as rain. And but it does not reach the surface. Before it reaches surface, it again evaporates and goes back into the cloud. So this weather system, which is made of sulfuric acid, is very, very peculiar, and it rains sulfuric acid on Venus. So you can imagine it's heat, it's high pressure, and the acid rain, and that too a sulfuric acid rain. You can imagine the kind of environment Venus offers. And the next fact is, if you manage to land on surface of Venus, you will never see sun, because the cloud that are connected on they are covered the entire Venus planet, will obscure your view from looking from sun being visible there. So sun is never visible. If you land on the surface of Venus, you will never see sun, not even the faintest, like you see sometimes in if there are cloud, it hides the sun on Earth also. When during rain time, you don't see sun appearing on Earth also. Similarly, since the planet is entirely covered with cloud, you will never see sun on the surface of Venus. So the next fact is, Venus is having a continuous storm on the entire planet, and this storm passes through the entire planet. It covers the entire planet, and this storm basically takes 4 days to 4 Earth days to go around the planet completely, and it repeats over and over again. So this is something which is again very peculiar. It has a never ending storm with very high energetic winds blowing, and with all that pressure, you can imagine how much energy it would be exerting on the surface of the planet. And it is going around with a cycle of every 4 Earth days, an entire planet. So no part of the planet is spared from this onslaught, and it is repeated every 4th day. So it is again very weird. It is a completely hellish kind of environment if we go to Venus. And these are the 10 facts we thought we will bring it to you and discuss with you. And do let us know what you feel about our live session on multiverse. And we have come to end of this edition, but keep engaging with us, keep sending your messages, and I'll say goodbye for today, and I will catch you again tomorrow morning in the live session of multiverse. Until then, have a good day, and bye bye.